Welcome to the Enterprise Thought Leadership Podcast, where we explore the latest in enterprise trends, tech, and strategy with the top leaders shaping the future.
Hi, we welcome you to our podcast On Stage with Enterprise Thought Leaders. My name is Kanika, and I'm the managing editor of IT Security Wire, which is our enterprise security publication. We've engaged in conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts, which reach over 1.3 million business leaders worldwide. Organizations are increasingly distributed, rapidly adopting IoT, OT, and multi-cloud architectures, and still grappling with increasing digital complexity. Companies need security solutions that help them advance their cybersecurity postures, simplify security network infrastructure, and make it easier for them to scale securely. Experts say that zero trust and AI solutions working together could provide what enterprises today need most. We speak about this to Deepen Desai. He's a Chief Security Officer and the EVP Cyber and AI Engineering at Zscaler, to understand how enterprises can fight ransomware with zero trust coupled with AI. Welcome to our podcast, Deepen. It's great to have you back with us today.
Thank you, Kanika, for inviting me.
It was a pleasure. A little bit about Deepen first. He has more than 20 years of experience as a cybersecurity and business leader. He's been the lead research and development function at UTM, Firewall, and cloud security companies, building and scaling teams and operations. As a well-known cybersecurity industry expert, keynote speaker, Deepen often featured on media publications, panels, and webinars. He's also the author of 30 plus patents, with about 10 patents granted, several security blogs, reports, and bylines. Before joining Zscaler, Deepen worked at Dell Soniqual. He has a master's in science degree in computer engineering from the San Jose State University. So my first question to you, Deepen, is could you share a quick summary of the annual Zscaler Threat Labs 2025 ransomware report? What would you say is the most alarming point that the data shows?
Absolutely. So look, we're talking about our annual ransomware report, and the data that we looked at. It's April 2024 up until April 2025, and the goal is to compare how the threat is evolving. So when we compiled the data, we looked at two data sets. One is things that we're seeing for global enterprises in Zscaler cloud environment. This is where we're securing their traffic, as well as we also track various ransomware groups. So we look at the leak sites where a successful ransomware attack will result in data being put out for sale. So the report will contain data from both. I'm going to call out a few key highlights. Number one is in our cloud, we actually saw 145.9% year-over-year increase. This accounted for about 11 million blocks, threats getting blocked related to a ransomware attack chain. So this is not a ransomware payload getting blocked, but it could be phishing, it could be a next stage payload, or it could be the ransomware payload. Any part of the attack chain getting blocked. We saw about 11 million of that during the year. The public extortion cases, this is where our data on the ransomware leak sites, we saw 70.1% increase. So the number of victims getting posted on this data leak site also went up significantly. The third thing that I'll call out is where this is not a new trend, but the speed at which these guys are shifting towards, I'm referring to data exfiltration. So back in the day, ransomware started with encryption, then they introduced data exfiltration, we called it double extortion, and then they started moving towards exfiltration only. And in the last year, we noticed that multiple gangs actually moved over from doing both to just exfiltration. And the amount of data that these gangs are stealing has also significantly gone up. So one of the stats that we have published is for top 10 ransomware families, we saw an increase of 92.7% year over year in terms of data exfiltration volumes. And this accounted for about 238 terabytes of data that was stolen from their victims.
So this all sounds extremely scary. But we do expect that there are tools, and especially with AI coming up. So since AI has been riding this cutting edge, strengthening ransomware as well as helping to fight it. So that is a double-edged sword that we often refer to. What do CISOs do to ensure the balance between AI assisting threats and AI fighting threats?
Yeah, so look, AI has tremendous potential. We're seeing rapid adoption in many different industry verticals and including security. We ourselves are leveraging AI to fight AI driven attacks. AI, as you mentioned, is a double-edged sword. So definitely something that would keep CISOs up at night. The risk of adopting AI insecurely is fairly significant. And then the CISOs also need to worry about the threats that are AI driven, where gangs like ransomware, they've already started using AI across the attack chain, whether it is to deliver those phishing lures. The voice based phishing is increasing as well, that where they will make a phone call using the voice of one of the executives and try to get in the environment, or using AI to craft very, very evasive malware payloads. That's already happening as well. And then using AI also for data exfiltration and command and control communication piece. Just the other day, the team came across a malware that was literally sending prompts to an LLM as part of the CNC communication channel. So it's not just sending all data out, it's actually sending a prompt and accepting prompt in response to conduct command and control communication. So the point I'm trying to make is CISOs definitely have to worry about the risk of insecure AI adoption. This is legitimate AI. And then the AI leveraged by the bad guys when they're trying to target their organization.
So, in all of this, what role do you think zero trust plays, and how critical it is for better security from ransomware and other kind of attacks?
Yeah, look, zero trust. I always like to start with the fundamentals, and this is not something Zscaler came up with. This actually was NSA, or VNS, National Security Agency, that published a zero trust architecture definition. And there are three tenets that I always like to call out. One is never trust, always verify. Second is least privilege access. And then the third is assume breach, where if you were to get breach, your architecture should be designed in a way that the blast radius is contained. Now, Zscaler inadvertently was started with these fundamentals at the core of the platform that we built. And the platform was built several years before Zero Trust became a buzzword. So the way I call out Zero Trust role in this world where we're starting to see a lot of AI-driven attacks, ransomware continues to evolve. So think of it as one of the best proactive measure against these attacks. Now, the reason I say that is when it comes to AI driven attacks, we're going to see a lot of unknown unknowns. AI doesn't think like a human adversary. It is able to figure out those unknown paths in a fairly automated and scalable way, which means you cannot no longer play that reactive game where, okay, the human did this, I'm going to do this. The whack-a-mole approach is no longer going to work. In fact, the scale and the speed at which AI will move, we're already seeing that. You need to prioritize implementing zero trust architecture because proactive defense will be the best defense in this case. So going back to zero trust, why is it important? If you do it correctly, you will achieve four big things. One is you will reduce your external attack surface. So things that are visible from outside will become invisible to the bad guys. So in case of Zscaler, it's your attack surface shifts behind a Zscaler cloud. Number two is you're able to apply consistent security no matter where your users are, whether they're in office, whether they're traveling, whether they're home. Consistent security, full TLS inspection, nothing bad comes in. That's where you're preventing that initial compromise. Third, and this is one of the most important one, is every attacker, after they get in your environment, they will move around. this includes AI as well. I mentioned about the evasive malware, the post-exploitation toolkit. As soon as they compromise your first asset or the first identity, they will always try to move to your crown jewel applications. That's where the data that matters to your organization resides. So this is where, what can you do to prevent that lateral propagation? In case of a true zero trust architecture like Zscaler, you will never bring a user on the same network as the application. So implementing the true user to app segmentation, there is no concept of IP address in this case. This is where you're able to contain the threat actor or the AI, even if they've managed to compromise the single asset or an identity, they're not able to move laterally in the environment. And then the final stage is every attack that we're seeing out there is after your data. They're trying to steal large volume of data from your environment. This is where having an inline DLP solution with full TLS inspection is extremely important. So reduce your attack surface, prevent compromise, prevent lateral propagation, prevent data exfiltration. These are the four buckets in which I would classify your zero trust transformation journey.
So, if we could just go back to the report for a moment, does the data seem to indicate in any manner that the cloud is more vulnerable to ransomware attacks?
Look, if I look at the report, there were three industry verticals that were at the top. Manufacturing, it has been actually one of the most impacted industry vertical over the last 3 years now. It has always been in top three. Technology is the second one. Healthcare is the third one. Now, your question around, is cloud more vulnerable? There are certain families that went after the supply chain vector. This is where they will target a SaaS application. So the one that comes to my mind is Clop, which was one of the top three most active family. Uh, they went ahead and compromised a file transfer application. It's a SaaS based utility, and the portal is exposed to the internet. Now, in this case, they will be able to then conduct a fairly significant downstream attack because they will exploit a vulnerability in this application provider. And if they are successful, they are then able to target all the customers of this application, which is what happened in case of Clop and them targeting the file transfer utility. So cloud is vulnerable, but it's not like it is more vulnerable compared to everything else you see out there. In my opinion, the two most vulnerable asset that organizations hold today are the VPNs, which is over and over being exploited or even being used as a legitimate means to get in the environment after they have stolen an identity. And anything that is exposed, which is legacy like Firewall and VDI, that the threat actors continue to exploit because their main intent is to get on the network and then move within the environment of this victim organizations.
So, my last question is, as AI adoption increases, attack surface and vulnerabilities will also increase. So, what's a way around these newer threats that are waiting in the wings? And as they develop, as their abilities increase, the severity of the attacks, the losses due to the attacks, the lack of compliance, or whatever else the enterprises face because of a ransomware attack will also be more severe. So, how do CISOs deal with them, and how does Zscaler help them to do that?
Yeah, look, AI adoption is already increasing year over year. We've actually been tracking that stat as well, and we'll be happy to share that with the audience here. Um, it is definitely one of the additional risk vector and one of the most significant one that the CISOs have to worry about because there are a lot of new things that are coming up. It's an evolving space, let me put it that way. We're now in the world where there are agents that are talking to each other. Companies are doing rapid development to deploy their agents. Now, we're also starting to see new attack vectors where an agent hijacking happens. They're able to make it do things that it was not intended to do. We will see attacks against your AI supply chain as well. In fact, we saw a ransomware family that specifically went after an AI company, another SaaS company, which was engaged in training AI models for several hundred downstream customers. They stole all the models, they stole all the training data. And the impact again is on several organizations. So you are going to see that AI supply chain attack as a vector as well. And then the final piece is the shadow AI. Just like shadow IT is a thing, it's the new evolving space everyone wants to try out. You absolutely must have a security control in place, a governance policy in place, but the employees at times will try to find a way around it. And that's where you will have instances of shadow AI, which was not provisioned, which was not, something that your company trusted with, but is there in your environment. And now you have inadvertent data loss happening, or a threat actor targeting that and doing more damage to your organization. So I mentioned 3 or 4 areas. One is your own AI implementation. You need to make sure it's done securely. Second is the shadow AI problem. And the third is AI-driven threats. Now, Zscaler helps organization in all 3 of these areas. Number one is because we are in line in our world, if you think of it, we will be able to implement zero trust for those AI agents as well. Just like users are connecting to a destination or workloads are connecting to a destination, agents are also connecting to a destination. So we will be able to have that checkpost where you will be able to define policies, you will be able to control what data leaves out and what data comes in. In fact, we are able to bring in visibility at the prompt level, the prompts that are being sent to these AI application in the console that the SOC teams can then leverage to further fine-tune their policies. And then the last piece I'll mention is for AI development that is happening within the environment. So these are private AI applications. Again, we have a man-in-the-middle proxy over there. We call it LLM proxy, where we will be able to secure your internal AI applications from being exploited, from being targeted for any type of malicious intent. And you will have same level of visibility for that as well. So net, if I were to summarize, you need AI to fight AI, and that's where the solutions that I mentioned are very important. But then you also need to prioritize zero trust architecture, because there will be a lot of unknown as the technology continues to evolve. So you need to have that zero trust posture implemented and prioritized.
Thank you so much, Deepen. It was really a very interesting conversation. And despite the scary figures, I'm sure people who will be hearing this podcast will, get some information on how best they can protect themselves, their organizations. Thanks once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Enterprise Thought Leadership Podcast. Please do follow us on social media and subscribe for more ideas and insights. Until next time.